Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Nike Famujura, and today I have an amazing woman that has tons of experience, a lot of education as well in this area, and she's going to be talking with us about limiting beliefs. Now, remember, this is Mom Leader Series, and what we're trying to achieve is just letting moms know that it's okay if you don't have it all together, and we're also providing you resources to help you be in a place where you feel comfortable. So, Robyn, welcome. Can you please introduce
Thank you.
yourself?
Thanks for having me here. Yes, again, she said my name is Robyn Ladinski. Education-wise, I've got a degree in early childhood education. I've got a master's in social work, and I'm a licensed clinical social work, which means I can do therapy with people. Um, and I have been working with families on and off for, I guess it's really close to 25 years now when I add it all up. Um, and as I've, gone in my work, I've learned more and more things, and I've gotten training. And, now I'm taking a lot of that and turning it into a parent coaching business, because that's where I could, there's a lot of restrictions with therapy, and you got to deal with the insurance companies and their parameters. And here I get to kind of do what I feel is really, really important to do and not have the time constraints. And
So I guess my first question is, because you have two children, they're much older now.
not much older, but
Much. They're in
they're only
college, right?
21. Don't age me that much.
Okay. No, they're in college. They
Yeah.
don't really stand in your way of running your business as someone that has younger kids, like a 2-year-old or a newborn. That's what I mean. So I feel like my first question is, can you just take us back to when you became a mom? How did it feel trying to find like your mom identity, just trying to find yourself in the midst of being a mom?
That wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't that hard, as far as I loved being a mom.
Okay.
I was really active with my kids. It's funny, I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday. It's like I allowed them to be them. I gave them freedom within parameters, obviously. Um, Even I was telling this story how when my kids were little and we would go to the story time at the bookstores, and they'd always give them out a coloring sheet to do. And I was amazed at how many of the other mothers were really fussing at their kids to use certain particular colors of crayons
Oh,
and to keep them in line, keep the drawing in the lines. And I'm thinking, these kids are 2 and 3 years old, and they were like stressed at that age just because of a coloring page.
wow. Wow.
And my kids, I just let them pick whatever they want, and they just had a blast, and they were so proud of it because it was theirs.
I love what you touched on. And I have this big question. Why do you think those moms were fussing about coloring within the lines and using certain colors?
My guess is it's a need to a level of perfectionism, that they need their kids to be perfect so that they will look perfect, and then it'll be easy to hide their insecurities and what areas that they feel incompetent in and don't want to be, fear of being judged and that kind of a thing.
Wow. I just feel like with what you just said, it looks like there's a standard. No one knows where that standard is, where a lot of moms work and feel this is a standard, this is what we should be doing, this is how we should be doing it, and not really paying attention to the type of child that you have, right? And I just love what you talked about, enjoying being a mom, because I help a lot of moms, that run a business. Some moms, I have helped moms that are career moms. And I feel that they just they just go through the phase of motherhood and like, okay, what do we need to do? Get them ready. And then they don't really enjoy that state of motherhood. And to a certain extent, they actually see being a mom like a distraction or something that restrains them from pursuing their goals or being better at themselves. So anyway, I don't want to go into that too much, but my question is, how can we understand the concept of limiting beliefs that affects us as moms and entrepreneurs? Because that's your thing. So I would love to
Yes.
hear your view on that.
Well, let me just give a basic definition of what limiting beliefs are, because some people have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, we all have experiences in our lives, and most of the experiences that I'm referring to tend to happen under age 7.
Wow.
Because that's when most of the brain development occurs. And so based on our experiences, or based on our perceptions of those experiences, we create beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world around us. Many of those beliefs are not very accurate, okay, but it makes logical sense from the perspective of the child.
Right.
And just even a simple one is, for the first time, if a dog comes up to you as a child and kind of snaps at you, then it's very easy to see how a young child would think all dogs are scary.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So yet if that happened to the first time as a 15-year-old or older, whatever, they may just think, well, that's just a mean dog.
Right. Yeah.
They're
Yes.
just going to stay away from it. So depending on the age, we perceive things differently. And so it's not that what they're perceiving is right or wrong. It's whether or not it gets in the way of them living their life. And so this one that, at 4 years old had a dog snap at him is going to go until he learns that that's not true. He's going to go through life being scared of dogs.
Wow.
So that's kind of a real simple thing. And then what happens is you go through your life, and if you haven't taken that belief and recognized that it's actually not true, you are going to have experiences show up in your life over and over and over again that if you trace it back, it goes all the way back to that limiting belief. A better one would probably be, my mentor had shared a story when he was about, 6 years old, and he was in the garage working on a project for school. And his father came in and said, here, let me show you a better way to do that. Well, at age 6, the boy took it to mean I can't do anything right. Now, from the father's perspective, he was probably going in there trying to just be helpful. But what that really doesn't matter. What matters is in that moment is what the 6-year-old thinks. So then he goes through life and keeps bumping into lots of situations where he just can't do them right.
Oh.
And it just manifests, that original belief. Now, once he gets help and to recognize that that's the belief that's been running his life, then he participates in various processes, or there's several out there to help shift that belief so that it's no longer running his life. And that's when things start to show up really, really differently.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think my big question that I have in my heart is, as a mom, how would you even know if you have limiting beliefs? Because, the thing about moms is usually we think we're superhumans. So the thought of even thinking anything that happened to me when I was a 6-year-old is affecting the way I'm parenting seems like, no, that's not me she's talking about. So what are the signs and, ways that you can spot that? Okay.
Basically, when things aren't going well and they continue to not go well.
Right.
And you see certain types of patterns. And the thing is it's not everybody else's fault. A common thing I hear from parents is, my kid's doing this, my kid's doing that, da 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 da. And it's like, you know what? Your kid is just responding to his or her environment. They're not bad. They're not just seriously it's not as simple as they're not listening, what's wrong with them. Well, there's reasons why they're not listening, and a lot of times, the parents will say, well, they're just wanting attention. Well, then why are they wanting attention? What are they missing? Let's address that. And trust me, everything else will be changing. And if they're having trouble giving attention, if the parents are having trouble with that, then it's important to take a look at within them why that's so difficult to do. You grew up with a dad who says, you got to work really, really, really hard, to provide for your family. And that meant even working all kinds of crazy hours where you barely even saw your kids. Then you're still going to be, that's a belief that you took on, how the world's supposed to work. And so
Right.
you come in and you do that too, then yet the kids are missing out. They don't get to see dad.
So I have, this is my own personal question. Do you think limiting beliefs is something you can pass on to your kids?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Well, yeah, they can pick up on yours.
Right.
Let's see. I was working with a family where the kid came in. He was like 12 or 13, I forget. And anyway, but he was having a lot of social anxiety type experiences and stuff. And he was kind of told, like, almost to the overwhelming point or level of don't talk to strangers.
Wow.
Okay. Well, then I got to talking and I heard from his mother, learned about from his mother that that's been her experience, that she's had a fear of strangers. And I wasn't able to get into too deep why, because that darn insurance stuff got in the way. But it was becoming extremely clear that this kid's anxiety was coming from his mother's beliefs.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And then, there's so many parents out there that will say, I think it's not quite as bad in this generation now of raising kids, but I think, grandparents' ages and stuff, very much the philosophy of like sit, don't speak, just be quiet, out of the way or whatever. Or a big common comment, if a kid is crying or upset about something, just get over it. You'll be fine. So, and those are beliefs that the parents have, but then the kid also picks that up, that my feelings aren't important, so I'm not going to share them.
Right. Right.
Of course, what happens is the feelings then build up inside and then they start acting out.
Okay.
And then the parents say, my kid's just a bad kid. And the reality is their feelings are just not being acknowledged, or they're not being heard, being able to voice what's really going on.
So that brings me to another question, which is, can you just give example of how you have helped parents, trying to overcome that limiting belief, and how can they stay consistent with whatever advice you have for them?
There's a gentleman that I worked with, and it's like I get so smiles because he wrote me the most nicest letter afterwards. And he came into the office saying he had some anxiety. And he thought that I would probably convince him to go get on some medication. And after a couple sessions, everything would be fine. And, but I kept pushing him gently because I knew he was a little resistant or whatever at first. And before we knew it, we were into working about his childhood and the upbringing and the dynamics that were there, and how that was playing a role with his marriage and then with his kids. And as we started working through those and eliminating those beliefs, getting them out of his system, things started to shift, where his wife reportedly told him, I don't have to walk on eggshells anymore around you.
Wow. Wow.
And the kids would tell Mom, I'm liking the new daddy. And it was so incredible. So that's an actual more recent story.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. He was one of, I so enjoyed working with him. I was really kind of bummed when he was ready to kind of stop and see what happened for a while, because I so enjoyed working with him.
That's phenomenal. And I feel like the message that is from there is sometimes we don't even realize how our own, beliefs and actions are actually affecting everyone around us. and how we can just make a little change that would just make life easier on everybody else. So
Mhm.
it's interesting because being a mom and then throwing in the whole stress of entrepreneurship, where I believe that's where a lot of those limiting beliefs, which is really pop out more. Like you're trying to grow your business, you remember that you think you're not good enough, so you don't take the step that should help you grow your business, so you sabotage your business. And then you come back, to being a mom, and you're so miserable because you're not doing so well in your business, and you just let that translate to, I don't think I'm a great mom too, just because the business is not doing well. So I just see how important the role that you're playing is, and the service that you're providing. Thank you for boycotting insurance and making, it's available to anyone to work with you one-on-one. So what are the different ways that people can work with you, and how can they contact you?
Well, the easiest way, which they can also get a gift, is to go to my website, which is www.peacefulparentingjourney.com.
Wow, love that.
Thank you. And there's a free ebook on there that they can download called Secrets of Successful Parenting.
And it's free. Yep.
It's free, no charge for that. And then they can, once they download it, they can be immediately taken to a calendar where they can schedule, just a 45-minute, I call it a parenting breakthrough session, where we could talk a little bit and see if we both feel like we'd be a good match to work with each other.
Right. Okay.
And then, of course, if you're not ready to make that decision yet, you'll get some follow-up emails, giving you some more good content. And then there'll be another opportunity, in there to, again, then go and schedule a session. And I'd also like to say that a friend of mine and possibly a third person are actually looking to put together a 100-day program to help with moms who are entrepreneurs and struggling with all the back to school stuff with the virtual learning.
Wow.
And how to balance that all out.
Wow. That's amazing. On 100 days. Okay. And do you
Yeah,
know how that's
so
going to work?
if anybody is interested in that, they can go to my website and then just click on the contact me and say, I want information on this. When you've got it all put together to, we still have to even come up with a name, which right now just the idea, but it's going to happen really, really fast since school is starting almost any day now. I mean,
Yeah.
I think schools in the country have already started.
Okay. So aside from your website, how else are you on social media? How else can they contact you?
Not having social media quite yet.
Okay.
Have my own personal, page, but I mean, they could always contact me through there and just say, I sent you a direct message, and I can check it out that way.
I think my last question is what you said to me, before doing this recording, which is parenting is not one size fits all. And I want moms to really hear this. So what is your message behind that statement that parenting is not one size fits all?
There's a lot of parenting books out there, and there's a lot of parenting courses, but they tend to just say, just do this and it should solve it. And the reality is that's not always the case. You've got to take in a lot of things into consideration. The family dynamics, the belief systems of the parents, any kind of developmental issues, any kind of extra stressors that all kind of feed into that.
Right.
And so, and then of course there's these ones that, believe in stuff like the timeout and all, which I am against, because, we as humans want to be connected. And essentially what you're doing is you're sending the child away. And usually this is 2 or 3 or 4-year-olds. They don't understand the concept of go sit and think about it. They're thinking about, when is this going to end so I can go back out and play?
Can I come back, mommy?
Yeah, and that's what they ask. And then sometimes if they get up early, they're like, now you have to double your time. And it's like, at some level, it's almost cruel. What they really want is your attention. They're needing something. So let's take a look and figure out what is it they're needing. And sometimes it could be as simple as they're hungry. They just want a hug because kids love that.
I'm just curious, what would be the alternative to doing a timeout?
Well, you pay attention to what's going on and figure it out. And then, if the child is throwing toys or whatever, kind of take them to decide with you and help them calm down. There's many different ways. Often just even holding a child, depending, is good.
Right.
And then just kind of just bond with the kid. And then when the kid feels calmer, then say, well, talk to the child, and it's like, what was going on? What are you so angry about or frustrated? And then come up with a plan of how to handle that. And then of course, then go and pick up the toys. Apologize if anybody got hurt, because you got to teach them the understanding of apology. To me, just going up and, and saying, I'm sorry, if the kid doesn't even understand what that means, it's just words.
Right, right, true. Wow. Okay. I feel like I should keep you on and just keep getting everything out of you, because you're really sharing amazing things that I believe. I'm a mom of young kids, so as you're talking, I'm trying to relate to what I do as much as I can. So I'm sure that you have an amazing resource. Moms out there should definitely work with you, especially if you're a mom that's trying to grow your career or you're trying to grow your business. This is something that you need support in that area, and that's what you provide. So www.peacefulparentingjourney.com, right? They can get all the information on there, or can they message you even on your website if they have any
Yes,
questions?
there's a space on the bottom that says contact, so they can just send a direct message that way, and I'll get that.
Yeah, and you want to get the free ebook as well. You should download the free ebook. It has all the information on there. And you can also book a 45 minutes call with you, which is great. So that's it. Thank you so much for coming, Robyn. I think what you're doing is so amazing. And I'm so glad that you decided to come do this with us. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me and inviting me along. And all I can say to everybody is happy parenting.